I moved the conversation.
I assume everyone's ready. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Now that we've clarified the phone book issue, got that taken care of. Call the meeting to order at 7:06 p.m. And we'll move on to item number 3, which is public comments. Is there any public comments? Is there any public comments? Hearing no public comment, we'll move on to item number 4. Approve the minutes from the June 20th, 2017 regular meeting. Can I have a motion to do so? Motion by Anne Marie.
Second.
Second by Al. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Karen?
Man, I'm sorry. On page 5, in the paragraph that begins, Karen said at the last meeting, second sentence from the second partial sentence from the bottom, it says, and the deed gives the Board of Selectmen on the definition of what a public park is. I said it gives no definition. So I think on was transposed, probably. Sorry. Anybody want to crack about the red pen?
No.
We know you're a teacher.
No, I think that goes to more than red pen. You're talking about the substance of the statement.
Well, I just,
Yeah.
we don't have a
Medical thing.
definition of what a public park is.
You want to make sure it's accurate. Yeah,
Okay.
got it.
Well,
Any other comments or concerns? Okay. Hearing none with those changes in mind, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye. Motion passes 5-0-1, and please note Nicole's abstention. Okay, item number 5, First Selectman's Report. There's 2 things on the First Selectman's Report. The biggest and most pressing issue has to do with state funding and the state budget. The last indication that I received with the governor's budget, that the town of Seymour will receive a cut of about $3 million. But again, that is just a lot of speculation and things based on his budget. A lot of the cuts that the governor is proposing comes to grants and aid that does not come to us right away, the biggest one being ECS. The ECS payments come in October, January, and April. The Speaker of the House has said that they will going to vote on a budget on July 18th, assuming that takes place. I think the cuts will not be as bad as the governor is mentioning. The other places where we could potentially receive substantial cuts, the excess cost student-based grant, which is money that goes directly to the Board of Education. We received about $600,000 last year. That's paid in February and May. The LoSEP money, which is paid out in March, that's $115,000. We didn't even budget for that this year. The Pequot Mohegan Fund, which is January, April, and June. And then the Town Road Aid, this is the biggest one of initial concern. That's paid in July and January. That's about $300,000. So we could have a shortfall of about $150,000 in that account, on that revenue line. As of Monday, I froze spending in the town of Seymour, both municipal and Board of Education. So any PO that is released on the municipal side needs to be signed off by myself, Doug, or Tony, and on the Board of Ed side needs to be specifically signed off by Rick Belden. So all non-essential spending will not take place until we figure out what the state budget's going to look like. So I don't think we're going to have a problem, but I'd rather be cautious initially and then realize that we don't have a problem. Hopefully, we'll have a budget at some point in July, and once we do, at that point, we'll move forward. The other issue at hand, state statute says that as of 7/1/2017, the mill rate on cars is to drop to 32 mills from 37 statewide. Seymour's mill rate is 36. Our tax bills went out for cars with a mill rate of 36 mills. We did that with the understanding from speaking to both sides of the legislature that no one has an appetite to reduce the statewide mill rate on cars any further from 37 because they don't have the money to pay for it. So everyone feels very comfortable that it's going to stay at 37 mills. All the budget proposals that I've seen, I've talked to the majority leader and the minority leader. They're both not for lowering the mill rate to 32 mills. If for some reason a budget is passed at 32 mills, at that point, we will need to do a reimbursement on all of the automobile taxes. That's going to be in the neighborhood of about $400,000 that we're going to need to come up with and send back to taxpayers. I'd rather do that as opposed to having to send out a second tax bill at some point in the fall. I think that would just upset the residents too much. I don't think they would fully understand kind of what is going on. And unfortunately, I think the town would receive the blame for that. I don't think it's fair that this board, or the finance board, quite honestly, receive the blame for something that would be forced upon us and not funded. So that's where we stand on that, so. Okay. And to be honest with you, I think people will be happy to get some money back. It'll be a nice little thing into the fall and leading up into the holidays. So those are the two major issues I just want to go over tonight in the first Selectmen's report. So with that, we're going to move on to item number 6 in our continuing series of department heads and board commissions coming in to meet with us. And our plan is to have EDC at the meeting on the 18th. So tonight we have Alex Danka, who is the chairman of our Town Safety Committee. And the Town Safety Committee has to do with the safety aspect for our employees. So making sure that their work environment is a safe place. We try to control the amount of workers' comp issues that we have. So Alex is the relatively newly elected chairman of that board. It's only been a couple months that he's held that position. Paul Wedowitz had it for years prior to that. So I asked Alex to come and just kind of let you guys know what we do when it comes to keeping our employees safe and healthy. So Alex, if you want to come up and speak into the microphone. And I'm going to step out real quick while you do that.
I already talked to you about everything. So on this committee that we started, that we took over from Paul, it was Pratt, Sergeant Pratt, myself, Tim Willis, Charlotte, and Stramello. And every month, we invite anybody, the department heads, to come to this meeting. We used to hold it about every other month. Now we're back to almost every month with these meetings. Just to give you some facts, we just ran some numbers the other day. In 2014, we had 44 claims at $414,000 for workers' comp claims. In 2015, we had 37 at $297,000. 2016 is when we took over and we talked to Kurt, and I know you guys talked about with the light coming back with a new program with light duty, where instead of sitting at home, people are coming back and doing some office work or something a little bit less strenuous on them. Those got down to 102,000. So, and then so far this year, we're at 81,000 with 25 claims. But one of those claims was $38,000. So we're not doing too bad. We have 12 strains, trips and falls at 44,000. 5 strains, they call them, at 15,000. 3 strucks. You know, if you strike something, you hit yourself with a hammer or whatever. Those were 10,000. Struck by something other than that's what they classify it as. It was 4,000, or caught between something was 1,800. The top 4 claims were the police department. They had 17 at 34,000. Public Works had 4 at 44,000. Fire had 2 at 663, and 1 EMT was at $1,182. For 2016, we made sure that every person who needed it had their CPR, AED training, their bloodborne pathogens, and we sent a couple people to get their titer test done, just to make sure that, I guess, that Hep B is taking place. We sent 4 people to the OSHA 30 class. Myself, Tony, Primo, Frankie, Public Works, and Sergeant Pratt. We're going to send 2 more this year. It's 100% free through PMA. We have 9 training classes that are free through PMA. The next 3 months, Tim's taking some of them, I'm taking some of them, and we're going to start offering them to other members who want to take them. I mean, someone is like one of them, like, I'm on step 3, I think, with accident investigations, where we're gonna start up, where it says someone gets hurt. They slip off a truck. Or something. What? Well, they call it accident investigation at this time. That's step 4, that.
Continue, Alex, please.
Yes, I know.
Just talking to the microphone, so my mother doesn't yell at me.
That's fine. So we're gonna do that, and we decided to have like a 2-man team, myself and Tim. That way, because if you talk in front of 3 or 4 more people, people feel intimidated. We're not there to put blame on them and find out why they got hurt, but, we're trying to find out how they got hurt. How to try to prevent something from happening again. Because we're trying to tell people, and like Deb Zotti from PMA has been really great with us. She comes, and then another guy, Ernie, if I have a problem, he comes down. He's like one of the OSHA investigators, and he does pre-OSHA. He comes down and talks. He's like the big OSHA guy. Yeah, I think you might have met him, Ernie. But he comes down. We walk through every single building in town. There's 2 more safety issues we have to address at the community center, but that's going to be done. We had to wait for this new budget. Sorry, Kurt, about that freeze, but that's safety stuff. We're trying to do everything in-house. Most of the stuff I've been fixing, or we had Public Works fix, so we're trying to just keep the costs down. What else did we do? Oh, we did a department head training to make sure that everybody is filling out the incident reports the same way. And when we had this class, they said to him, ask a lot of questions. Observe what the person's wearing. If he comes in and says, I fell, was he wearing sandals? Was he wearing flip-flops? Or if he cut his hands, ask if he had gloves on. Just do a quick initial. We had a class with all the department heads, and we're going to be holding another one in 2 months. Like I said, we went through all the town buildings. The next buildings that we're going to be walking through are the fire departments and EMS. I did a quick walk through EMS, and Ryan and I became very good friends very quickly. We straightened out a couple quick things that he didn't even know about, which was great, So it's just basically to help prevent any accidents or stuff to go wrong. Be more proactive on stuff. In 2017, like I said, we're going to start the accident investigation thing, or risk management, if you want to call it, or risk assessment. We talked to the PMA, and we're going to design a fit test for people who leave work on comp. They have to come back and do a fit test. Because, there's sometimes people come back to work, and the very next day they get hurt again. So, it's to make sure that they're able to do the job. If you need more time out, take the time. Go for the physical therapy. That's what it's there for. The sexual training program, harassment training program, I know we've been talked about it, so I'm just waiting for him to get back to me. The thing that we talked about was, and we're not sure about yet, but they're going to check a list of network doctors for people to have when they get hurt. Because sometimes people are just going to their own doctors. So that should be something that should be available. They said Deb from PMA, that's on their form. Should be a list of doctors. These are the doctors that are approved that you have to go to. We're looking in for the update our MSD books. We try to keep them updated as much as we can. I'm telling you, I know we're supposed to be, every time we get a new piece of chemical in the building, we do it. But there's a program out there that we like to purchase that just keeps them updated for us.
Which I no longer use because in 2014, everything else that had a
Safety data
So you
sheets.
have to be under the new global harmonization system.
That's the program we have to get.
You can just, I'll talk to you. There's
Call me.
one out there, we can get that.
Perfect. We'll cross that off the list. The couple other things we want to do is, for the library, we want to get an ultra blue light. Because all the books that are returned to the library, you can have bed bugs, fleas, and everything. If they run it through a light. This was just people that came up. I know she's cringing, but that's a couple things that they talked about.
The library?
Yes.
Parking lot, probably.
Oh, only on Tuesdays. Tim brought.
I'm not taking the bait. Alex, please continue.
Good.
The bait.
Tim talked about that everybody who does off-site work for the town of Seymour should have their license on file, the driver's license on file. Because say like the tax collector goes to the bank and makes her runs, but say, I'm going to use an example. Employee A gets a DUI in California, and then she's doing town work, or he's doing town work, and he gets into an accident, we're not checking to see if they even have a valid driver's license to be doing the runs back and forth for the town. We're ordering eyewash stations for every building. We don't have them. None of the fire departments have them. Because there's that one big thing in there that makes, they say everybody needs it because of Gojo. It's the biggest leader of in the Clorox cleanup that every building has in it. The other couple of quick things, we have to get they suggested that we get our water tested. Being a public building. Because they talked about our water fountains, when's the last time those filters have been changed? I said, I don't know. And that was really it. Just a quick touch up on stuff, what we're doing, what we're going forward. We're not all professionals like you, Emery. We're doing our best as volunteers.
No. I think you guys are doing a wonderful job. You're doing a great job.
I mean, it's just, we're taking some baby steps. We're going from what we had before to expanding it a little bit more in
I
depth.
think by having at least 4 people with 30-hour training and sending more people for 30-hour training is a wonderful idea, because that means under OSHA's eyes you're confident able to do all the safety training that needs to be done. So I think it's a great idea, and you're taking a step forward. I think it's great that you guys are doing going to be doing root cause analysis on the injuries, constantly asking me why,
Right.
and driving it down. The SDSs, give me a call. I will
Okay.
gladly help you guys with that. I have a system that I will gladly give the town of Seymour.
Perfect.
What you're looking for is a fleet management safety program. Almost like what Public Works has to do with their CDLs, the drivers, having to go for them.
Right.
But what you want to do is you want to run the license backgrounds on these people to ensure that there is no infraction. And keep it will keep your insurance rates lower as well.
Right.
So I think it's great. I think you guys are making great progress.
Thank you.
Alex, let me just ask a quick question. When somebody wants to come back to work, that physical or that checkup that you were talking about, who would conduct that?
That's not us. That would be a program that would be designed through PMA,
Mm-hmm.
and they would have, for examples they were given, like making sure that you could walk up the stairs, make sure you could lift up, like a 50-pound weight or something. Like if I'm a custodian, say I get hurt.
No, understood. So this would be a third party that would
Yes.
do it, correct?
And this
Okay.
is in addition to their MP.
Right, I would
Yes.
assume that they'd have to get their doctor
Right,
to clear
when
them
an
too.
employee gets hurt, they go to like a concentra or something like that, and then they would release. But I just wanna, when you say fit test,
I think they're pushing it for if people who've been out for 3 or 4 months, compared to just not somebody who's been out for a week.
but
Right.
just be careful, like if an official should come in,
Mhm.
an OSHA official should come in, and you use the word fit test. To them, a fit test is a respirator,
Okay.
okay? What you want is a fit for duty.
Fit for duty.
Fit for duty. I think I had that written down. I
Yeah, he
think I
just
said
used
it
the wrong term. It's fit
Yeah.
for duty, yeah.
It's all right. I just-
Fit for duty. That's what I have. I'm sorry.
But
Yes.
you're like fit test, I'm like, who the heck's wearing a respirator?
Sure.
Because we do have, just off his point, while we have, we self-insure for workers' comp, so we have control of some of the doctors.
Right.
If somebody gets hurt outside of work and is out of work, and whether on short or long-term disability, their doctor releases them depending on the severity of the injury. We may send them to another doctor of our own to determine the fit for duty. And then if both doctors agree, there's no issue. If the doctors disagree at that point, then we have a third doctor kind of break the tie, that type of thing. So,
It's a whole new world for me, and learning as I go. And
Give me a call.
Okay.
For you, Alex, I will help you for free.
perfect.
well, we like free. All right, any other questions for Alex?
Keep up the work.
Thank you.
Good job, Alex.
Was
Great
good?
job.
Sorry I wasn't at the last meeting too, but thank you for your kind words for Memorial Day. It was nice.
That was an excellent parade.
I appreciate it. It's fun.
I never had so much fun at a parade.
Good. We have some more things planned with Kurt.
Oh, and I tell you what, and this is kind of off the topic, but on this, we put the new cameras in the buildings and things, and I was actually sitting with Rob going through the feed, and the feed that, because I'm gonna have a TV in my office, and Tony's gonna have one in his, so we can see all the live feeds. One of the live feeds is Main Street, and it essentially shines right down on where the reviewing stand is.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out a way that we can live stream the parades on the internet as it's happening. So we're
I
gonna,
think people enjoyed
try to-
walking with it and breathing heavily as you're walking. with it.
well, a fat guy trying to figure out how to work a phone, stuff.
We're trying
But I
to
mean, for
find
people who don't
Yeah.
Facebook, I mean, they can go right on from wherever they are, and they can just live stream the parade, which is nice.
Oh, and then one last thing I would mention, we had 4 bags actually this year, so far this year. They said that unattended bags that we had PD come to. We had an incident, I don't want to get the details up north at one of our town buildings where somebody went into a bag and found a little bit more than there should have been in the bag and was rustling through it. And thought that person thought she was a cowboy, or he thought he was a cowboy, There's some things that are in there that now, so far, I think twice from the community center, that we said stay away from the bags, just call somebody,
Right.
because you don't know what's in them. So that's working too, and the PD's gonna do come down and talk to all the department heads too. We have that arranged where they're gonna say, if you see something, just stay away from it. Don't call Alex, the custodian, I'm not going near it.
Right.
That's the first phone call we get. There's something here, Alex, take a look at it. Oh, call somebody else, please. But thank you, I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Alex.
Good work.
Okay. Item number 7, discussion take possible action regarding potential hiring of recreation program manager. As you know, our current recreation program manager is a part-time position. In the fiscal year 18 budget, it was increased to a full-time position, and funding was put in place for that. So by union contract, we needed to post this job internally for 10 days. When we did that, obviously, the person who had the part-time position applied for full-time. So it is my recommendation that we promote, or I don't know if promote's the right word, but change the status of Zach Philippas, who is our part-time recreation program manager, to full-time recreation program manager, and that would be effective next Monday, which would be July 10th. So can I have a motion to do so? Motion by Stefan, second by Al. Any discussion? Again, just along the lines of salary, the salary that or the hourly rate, that he's being paid won't change. It's just going to be an increase of hours, and then obviously the addition of benefits, which we've budgeted for. Okay, so hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 6-0. Item number 8, discussion take possible action regarding renewal of regional animal control agreements. Okay, in your packets, you have a new agreement between Seymour and the town of Woodbridge for animal control duties. And then I'll just read this into the record. This amendment and extension agreement dated June 30th, 2017 by and between the town of Woodbridge and the town of Seymour is intended to amend and extend that certain agreement between Woodbridge and Seymour titled Agreement by and between the town of Woodbridge and the town of Seymour regarding animal control services initial term. Whereas Woodbridge has provided certain animal control services to Seymour as more fully described in the agreement. Whereas the agreement expires on June 30th, 2017. Whereas the parties desire to amend and extend the agreement as follows. Number 1, the agreement pursuant to Section 9 is extended for a term of 1 year commencing on July 1st, 2017 and expiring on June 30th, 2018. 2, Section 6 of the agreement is hereby amended, and it is agreed that the consideration to be paid to Woodbridge from Seymour is $77,000 for the period of July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2018. 3, in the event the parties renew the agreement for additional terms as set forth in Section 9, Woodbridge shall provide notice to Seymour of any increase in the cost of services for the new term prior to March 1st of each renewal term. And 4, all other terms and conditions set forth in the agreement shall be applicable during the extension period of July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2018, and remain in full force and effect. In witness thereof, the parties have executed on this day, year, as set forth below, and then assuming this board approves this agreement, it's already been approved by the Woodbridge Board of Selectmen, so First Selectman Heller will sign this, as will I, and this will go into effect immediately. So, with that being said, I'll entertain a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve and adopt the amendment and extension agreement for animal control services between the town of Woodbridge and the town of Seymour as presented.
Second.
Motion by Nicole, second by Karen. Just under discussion, the one thing that I asked, and Warren worked on this for us while Rich was away, is that third item, that any time that there's going to be an increase going forward, that the town of Woodbridge lets us know by March 1st. That way we can properly budget. They let us know that there'd be an increase after the budget process was done, which is obviously a problem for us. I mean, we're going to be able to absorb the increase without a problem, but it would be nice to know so we can properly budget that. Woodbridge had absolutely no issue with that whatsoever.
What was the
So
increase again, Kurt? Remind me?
7,000.
It was 70 we had originally.
It was
right?
70 we had, and that was simply because of call volume. Rory called and got the statistics, and it was drastically higher than Woodbridge had anticipated, substantially higher than Derby. But from our perspective, we've gotten nothing but good comments about animal control and the work that Woodbridge is doing. So it's been a very positive thing. Animals are treated very well. They're very receptive. They respond quickly. So I think overall, the town is getting good value for the agreement with Woodbridge. Jointly, we just got a small cities grant where they're going to put $400,000 worth of improvements into the animal control facility. So, it's a good relationship all around for the three communities. So any questions or comments? No? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 6-0. Next item, item number 9, discussion take possible action regarding Town of Seymour Responsible Growth and Transit-Oriented Development Grant Resolution. So in your package, you have, first is the actual resolution itself, and then as an attachment that came in the email, you have the actual grant application itself. So it's quite sizable. So I'll read the resolution into the record, and then we'll go from there. So the 2017 Responsible Growth and Transit-Oriented Development TOD Grant Program. The Board of Selectmen of the Town of Seymour met on July 5th, 2017, and adopted a resolution by a vote of, and then that'll be filled in based on our vote, which, number 1, authorizes submission of the Town of Seymour Responsible Growth and Transit-Oriented Development Grant application in accordance with the 2017 Responsible Growth and Transit-Oriented Development Grant Request for Application. Number 2, authorizes First Selectman W. Kurt Miller or his successor to sign the grant application attached hereto and to sign any other documents associated with administering the grant, if awarded, included but not limited to the final grant agreement and any amendments thereto. And number 3, in administering the grant, if awarded, the Town of Seymour hereby agrees to comply with the terms and conditions in the final grant agreement as executed, including the local match requirement contained in such agreement. The local match presented in the initial application form shall form the basis for the match requirements of the grant agreement. So at this point, I will entertain a motion that the board move forward? Approve? Have a motion?
Second.
Motion by Anne Marie, second by Al. Just under discussion, we're doing this in conjunction with the COG, and this grant, one of the things that we're looking for, and I'm sure you've all flipped through and read the objectives and eligibility and things. If you go to page 8 of the grant application, you can see the total amount being requested is $1,960,000. And this is for construction of Phase 2 of the Greenway. Phase 2 of the Greenway would run from Bank Street down to Broad Street Park. So one of the issues we have and one of the points of this grant is to improve the movement of people throughout our transit-oriented development district, which is a half-mile circle around a large means of transportation, that being the train station. One of the biggest issues on River Road is the sidewalks. So if we were able to put this in, this would provide improved connectivity from Bank Street down to Broad Street. Working with Mark Nielsen and Rick Dunn at the COG, they thought this was a excellent grant opportunity for us to address both of Seymour's issues. One, again, of fixing the sidewalks in that area, and also funding Phase 2 of our Greenway Trail. So are there any questions, comments? Karen?
I just have a question. The last meeting, I had a copy of the statutes, which I don't have with me tonight, and I know one of the errors that I pointed out was that the statute, the ordinance that was referenced bans bicycles on sidewalks, and yet this calls for a sidewalk big enough to accommodate bicycles. Shouldn't we know exactly what the ordinance requires and what it allows? And perhaps we need to take a look at that ordinance.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. Good comment. Thoughts, comments? No? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The chair votes aye, motion passes 6-0. Okay. Item number 10 is discussion, take possible action regarding the capital plan. Now, I was holding off on presenting the capital plan until we had a state budget in place, so we know exactly what type of funding we would have, and if we had to make any changes. Obviously, the capital plan is one place that we can go to at least save $100,000 this year. With that being said, though, I didn't want to not present the capital plan to this board to give you the opportunity at least to make comment. As it stands, if there was no issue with the state budget, this is the capital plan that I would be presenting. So what I wanted to do tonight, if nothing else, was at least give it to you, hear some feedback, get some thoughts, and then worst case scenario, we can vote on it on July 18th at our next meeting, with the assumption that the legislature meets and votes that morning. At least we'll have a better idea potentially of what's going to happen. So with that, I just want to kind of go through, and we're looking at the section in green. I tried to make it a little bit easier. The road reconstruction, building repair fund, and mill rate stabilization fund, though those are determined each year by the Board of Finance, I still like to put those in there because I think those are long-term capital things. And you can see we're very slowly increasing the road reconstruction and the building account over time. In the meantime, we're slowly bringing down the mill rate stabilization fund. So we're going to use the two to kind of counterbalance each other. If you move down to Public Works, we're projected to buy a new sidearm tractor for fiscal year 2018. The tractor that we have has met its useful life, and to get parts for it, we actually have to get them from England. So it takes a tremendous amount of time to get those parts in. So obviously we think it's time for a new tractor there. The other issue we have, and Anne Marie will appreciate this, the current sidearm tractor we have is not enclosed, at least not enclosed as well as it should be. This one would be fully enclosed. So again, for added safety for our employees. For the police department, $14,000 for bulletproof vests to go along with a grant that we have received. For the fire department, the fourth of 5 payments of $9,347 for the small apparatus truck that they purchased, the 4-wheel drive truck. And then also $30,000 for the self-contained breathing apparatus, and I know we've all heard, we've gotten information on that from Chief Lombardi. You know, we worked through the issue. It'll be a $30,000 payment this year, a $30,000 payment next July 1st, and then that issue should be addressed. We're going to continue putting $10,000 a year into our oil tank removal fund. We have several underground oil tanks that we need to remove. Skipping to the next page, under technology, our PC replacement. Every year we're going to replace $5,000 worth of Computers, our goal is to have every 4 to 5 years, new computers in each office. And then the key fob and cameras for town buildings at $20,000 a year for the next, for 4 years total, $80,000. We've actually gone ahead and done all of the work this year, so you'll notice the cameras and the key fobs, those should be active by the end of this month. We are taking a loan out of the general fund and paying ourselves back. This is going to allow us to get us much-needed security in Town Hall, the community center, and the library, which are all lacking in that. For the parks, a zero-turn mower for $18,000. As we've increased our staff and our workload for Public Works, we need to make sure that we're properly maintaining our equipment. And then at the Seymour Middle School, drainage and infield repair to the baseball field. We did that at French Memorial Park 2 years ago. The issue we have is when the field is dragged because of water. If they do it the wrong way, you start to get the lips. It actually becomes very dangerous for the kids. So we want to make sure that the fields are done properly. The community center recreation, a golf simulator for the community center. This would be to put an actual golf simulator down at the community center, which could be used by our residents for a fee to golf. It can also be used for birthday parties and fantasy football and baseball drafts. In looking at the golf simulators that are out there, the one that the board is going to recommend be purchased when the time comes, I think would have a relatively quick payback to it. So that's something that they have recommended. And then $2,500 in for interest on the loan, because as you know, it's a 3-year loan, essentially how we pay for the capital. So, but again, same plan that we've had in place now for 4 or 5 years. So that's the capital plan as would be recommended by myself to this board. This is done in consultation with department heads. They provide information and reasoning for it. So you can see the projected for 17-18, and then I also included the forecasted capital plan for the next 3 years, fiscal year 19, 20, and 21, so you can get an idea of what we're looking at. Again, our goal is to stay right around $300,000 a year. Questions, comments, thoughts? Karen?
Under police,
Under police, yes.
the bulletproof vest, you have 14,000. Should bulletproof, should that be plural vests, or is that just one vest is $14,000? I'm not saying it's not worth it. Not
No,
at
that
all.
should be vests. Yes,
More than
multiple,
one?
yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. No, it's,
I was gonna-
yeah, no, it's multiple vests.
okay.
Yeah.
More than just two.
It's more than just two, yes. That's a typo.
I have a quick point too. I didn't want to interrupt you before. On
Nope.
the fire, self-contained breathing apparatus, that total should be 60,000, correct?
Yeah, that's just a
All right. And
Excel error.
The other question I had is, for the golf simulator, could you get us the date on how long it would be before we broke even on that?
Mm-hmm.
Just so we can make an informed decision regarding that. Thank you.
You're welcome. What other comments, thoughts?
I think the middle school baseball field is a good idea. From what I heard from a couple of parents, when it rains, even a couple of days after, the kids still can't play in the game, and we
Yeah.
missed a lot of games last year. I think it's really well done, good investment.
And the work that they did at French, if anybody's been over there to see that field, how that turned out.
Yeah.
It's nice. The field drains properly, and it's nice. It's definitely worth the money for the use that our baseball fields get.
So piggybacking onto that, Kurt, are there any other fields in town that need that kind of treatment or upkeep, or renovation, whatever you want to call it?
Those are the two main, we'll call them 90-foot diamonds in town, so those will both be up to snuff. Little League maintains their own facility quite nicely.
Casa Grande.
Casa Grande is in great shape. The Garrett Field at Gary Park, the other Little League field, could use a
Yep.
little love,
Yep,
but not to the extent of the middle school field. It's not that bad.
okay.
So,
And the other middle school fields are okay? The softball, the
Oh, yeah.
soccer, everything else is,
I can't speak to all those.
But was it
No.
a design flaw?
No, it's when there's puddles and the coaches come and they push the water off.
Right.
What they do is they push it and it eventually makes a lip
yeah, they're not
on
supposed-
both sides.
supposed to do it.
Yeah.
No,
There's a special way, and they actually teach you how to do it.
Do they know how to do it now?
They do it at French, so yeah, it's explained and gone through, yeah. The French has been 2 years now, and there's been no issues,
Yeah, that.
so. But the softball field I know is in good shape, soccer field,
Doesn't drain great.
no, but fixing a soccer field is not a $10,000.
Yeah, I know, it's a big one.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. Anybody else? Comments, thoughts? No? All right, so data on the golf simulator break-even point. We'll fix, obviously, the 2 typos. Anything else? No? All right, so hopefully we'll have this back in front of you on the 18th, assuming all goes well. If not, it'll be the first week in August, or first meeting in August, excuse me. Okay, item number 11, discussion take possible action regarding 2017-18 WPCA budget. By charter, WPCA is required to present a budget to the Board of Selectmen for April 1st of the year preceding the budget going into effect, and then the Selectmen are supposed to take action on that budget at the first meeting in May. Before you is the WPCA's budget effective July 1st, 2017 to June 30th, 2018. We're just receiving this now. So we could accept it, we can deny it. I'm not sure at this point what type of impact denying it would have, to be quite honest with you. The budget itself covers the major areas that are required. If you look to the bottom, amount available for additional capital improvements, that $738,000 would be classified as the depreciation as the charter asks for. That depreciation is designed to be put aside in some type of sinking account to be used for capital purchases. As you can see, they're earmarking 500 of that 738,000 for the new EPA and deep mandated phosphorus removal system. So, I mean, it is going directly towards capital immediately. We're trying to get, obviously, the WPCA to be self-sufficient and to address all of their own needs within their own budgets. So this is certainly a positive step with regards to that. So I'll leave it up to the pleasure of the Board of Selectmen as to what the board would like to do. Anne Marie is a sitting member of the WPCA, so she can probably answer any specific questions that you may have. She is absolutely the most qualified person on this board to address any of these questions. So with that, I'll open it up for discussion, and then we'll just kind of take it from there.
I just had one question. What's the reason why we wouldn't accept it? I understand it was supposed to be presented by April 1st and was not. But with that said, it's presented late, why wouldn't we accept it? Is there anything wrong with it?
Nothing that I could see that's structurally wrong with the budget. I mean, I'm not sure I agree with everything that's in here, but this is what the WPCA thinks is in the best interest of running the WPCA for the next year. So it's not, but structurally, everything is here.
So if we did reject it, then would we be expected to go in and make recommendations of where to change it?
No, we can just reject. The charter says we accept or reject. It doesn't say that we don't run the WPCA. Again, it's one of those things in the charter that probably needs to be
Change?
reviewed with the upcoming charter revision, but that's the way it is. Yeah, again, the biggest issue here is the charter is clear on the April 1st and the May 1st dates. They're outside of those. Rejecting it, I'm not sure what that would do, other than cause controversy and trouble when the bills go out in October. So,
And
Hey,
what-
Maria, could you talk to why it was late?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that.
The reason why it was late, it was trying to come up with everything and making sure we had the depreciation, trying to figure out how much money we were going to put aside for the phosphorus. Making sure the state was actually set and the EPA was set on what their regulations were gonna be and had the right process in place.
So do you foresee this being an annual issue?
No, I don't foresee it being an annual issue. at all,
Have we had issues previous years?
Every,
Coming in late?
every year.
every year.
Every year it comes in late,
This is by far the most outside,
the April 1st.
yeah.
I think what it is that there is some bitterness still with the WPCA and with the vote that was taking place in town about
The last charter change.
the last charter change.
Yeah.
There is some real bitterness there. We really aren't supposed to put this budget together. Your, not the council, but the committee, the WCA, there's a committee that's supposed to meet and come to the WPCA and tell us what budget we're supposed to put together, but that committee was never put together.
Well, that's the rate oversight board.
Yeah.
All the rate oversight board is designed to do is look at the rates based on that, but Rich is gonna,
Yes, which by charter isn't really defined.
yeah.
Right.
The duties
problem.
aren't defined.
Right. So we wait for this rate charter board to help us, and now we realize that we have to raise the rates. So, we put something in place that was never defined, was never followed through.
Well, somewhat, yeah.
And I was against that vote, but we put it on the ballot, we put it on the ballot for November, so people who don't even have sewers voted on this,
I don't
so.
disagree with any of that.
So we let people who
The WPCA should be a freestanding operation,
voted on it. 'Cause-
simply backed by supported by the town if it gets into trouble.
Yep.
So, I agree with everything that you're saying. But regardless of that, the charter is clear when this budget has to be put in,
Absolutely, and I can
Which is
guarantee you it won't happen again next year.
which is the crux of the argument, so. I guess, Nicole, to your point, I don't, rejecting it, I don't really see a purpose for that, but it's an option that the board has. So, I wouldn't support rejecting it at this point, but I think we should probably send a letter, or maybe have Rich
Strong.
send a letter, strongly worded, to the WPCA, reminding them that while they may not like the charter, as it's written, they still are required to follow it.
Make sure you put in there the date that they're supposed to, have this in there as well, please.
I'll write a letter to their attorney, Attorney Raymond Seuss, informing him of these dates,
Thank you.
reminding him.
Reminding him.
Why do we even have to approve this?
The charter says so,
Okay, but what's the purpose? Why?
because the charter says so. I'm not being flip, I mean, I don't have a better answer than that. I don't know.
WPCA runs on its own.
See, and that's, in the old days, everything was kind of wrapped in with the town budget, where we paid for their debt service and things like that. So it made sense that the town approved their budget. Now that we made the last charter change, where the WPCA has essentially been split off, and any debt that the WPCA occurs is their own, so we don't bond for that, they need to pay for it within their own rates. We really shouldn't be approving their budget. They should be running it as their own operation. They should be submitting to the Board of Finance the budget so it can be reviewed, but I don't think we should really be having any say on it.
I mean, we even pay the town of Seymour, we pay the town of Seymour to put liens on people's houses.
Right.
When
We being the WPCA.
WPCA pays the town of Seymour.
Right.
So it's, if we're a separate entity.
It's separate put together.
But
Yeah.
together. So it makes no, and these are like continuous arguments that take place.
Right.
First Monday of every month in case someone chooses to go to the meeting. It's, we have to answer the town of Seymour, but we have to report, we have to get a budget approved by the town of Seymour, right? Because we're run by the town of Seymour, but we're not run by the town of Seymour, but we have to pay the town of Seymour to put liens on people's houses.
And the Board of Selectmen approves or appoints the members of the WPCA.
So these are things that need to be addressed
Right.
in our.
Well, and to the point that was made earlier, you had people voting on changes to the WPCA that are not users of the WPCA system.
They came to a Board of Selectmen meeting and we argued with them. Not
Yeah.
one of those people on that ordinance committee that wanted this change went to a WPCA meeting and asked anybody on that board what or how it's ran. but yet they came to a meeting, and I argued blatantly with them.
You mean
can't-
charter revision?
Charter revision, not
You
ordinance.
said an ordinance.
Charter revision.
Charter revision, sorry. And unless you come
Best-
into a
best.
meeting, unless you know, then you shouldn't be there. So now we have, everybody in the town of Seymour voted on this. I don't have sewer, and I don't have city water, I have septic, but yet I voted on it.
Right.
It's not fair to those that have sewer.
And again, to build off Amory's point, one of the reasons it was broken out in the new charter the way it was, if the town is incurring the debt for the WPCA, that's being filtered into the mill rate, so people like her who don't have sewer are actually paying a higher mill rate theoretically because of that. So by breaking it off and putting the debt solely in the WPCA, it needs to be built into the rate, so it's the users that are paying for it. But it's probably gonna take us another 10 years or so to wean off all the debt. And trying to go through and pull it out and give it to them, it would be nearly impossible because of refunding and different things that we've done over the years. So, but the goal at the end of the day is to have the WPCA be self-sustaining with its rate, and the town being there as a backstop and continuing to provide some support. Like, we do all the checks. You know, Violi gets paid once a month, I sign the checks for Violi, that type of stuff.
Okay.
So, Karen?
Yeah, two things. It would seem to me that an issue like this, which involves a great deal of money
Mm-hmm.
and tremendous, obviously, deep feelings between those who are serviced by the WPCA and those who are not,
Mm-hmm.
should be right at the top of the charter revision.
Oh, it is. Well, I should
hope
say the
so.
top. I mean, there's the town annual meeting
Oh, I'm not saying
is
it's,
number one, because the fact that the selectmen show up
Yeah.
to a special meeting that a resident hasn't come to, we can actually do that at a regular Board of Selectmen meeting and accomplish the same thing.
Right.
So, I mean, little things like that, but it's very high up on the charts, Karen,
Efficiency.
absolutely.
okay. And
Absolutely.
I think that as we have gone along, we've seen a couple of areas in the charter where we really need to go back and
Mhm.
tighten up
Oh,
the
absolutely.
language
Yep.
as the charter was written.
Which will be something we're going to talk about in two items.
Okay, and with all due respect to Anne Marie, who I respect very much, I also am on a sewer, I'm sorry, I'm on a septic system and I have a well and a street with no street light.
Yeah, I don't see
Also,
right now either.
and
Oh,
You know, I think-
don't instigate her.
I I think that even though I'm not serviced by the WPCA directly,
Right.
that I still, as long as it involves money being spent by the town or by an entity of the town, that I should be able to speak my voice. And that involves voting, and that's our privilege.
Oh, that's a fair point. Fair point. But, I mean, to Stefan's point, your point's very well taken. We're looking at 7, 8 line items that constitute $1.5 million in spending, and there's no backup, there's no detail. I don't think this board is the one that's best suited to do this. If it goes to any board, it should go to the Board of Finance to give them the opportunity to go through the budget and make sure that it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, I don't know what any of this means.
Right.
You know, it doesn't.
To the Board of Finance, there's supposed to be detail attached to this, and this is something that we argue with every year.
Then let them
No-
take it up with the Board of Finance.
Nope.
Whether we're gonna vote on this or we're not gonna vote.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, no, if any town department or committee submitted a budget like this to the Board of Finance, it would be rejected, just based on,
It should be.
yeah, so, but even if we had all that detail, how many of us are actually gonna understand what makes up all that detail? I don't know. So,
Kind of along those lines, Emery, do you know what? Can you speak a little bit to what this in the estimated revenues? What the 579,867 represents? On the third item of estimated revenues.
that's the,
So, go ahead.
no,
What it means.
that's the essentially the usage
Mhm.
times the rate. at a 85% collection rate.
What's this unit though? What's the unit?
It's whatever they use to calculate the amount of sewage that essentially runs through the system
So it's
On-
579,867 pieces.
Your flow.
of
Which is-
units,
It's your
yes.
flow.
Okay.
Flux capacitors, as Nicole would like to say.
That's the measure of units.
The flux capacitor.
Oh, that was his question. Is it gallons?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I don't think it's gallons. I think we probably get more
It's
than,
gallons per minute.
Who knows what it is?
yeah, that's,
I'd
It's
like
a
to-
number. It's a
I'd
range.
That's
like to
my
know what it
point,
is.
but
It's a good
it's-
question.
Yeah. Who knows?
Be nice to know.
yeah.
But
Come to
let's.
a meeting on Monday night.
All right. Well, we'll approve.
Would it be
this.
nice to know?
It would be nice to know. Why don't
So you
guys
can
come
see,
to a
this is
meeting
one of
on
those
Monday
things
night?
that there's a huge flaw in the system.
Do you really care?
So, Rich is just smiling.
Somebody asks that you.
Oh, we'd love that.
If I can just say a couple things on this, a lot of these issues are normal issues between a municipality and the WPCA. The WPCA is, in my view, has certain statutory basis, but is often created by a charter provision or by an ordinance. It is an agency of the municipality, although it is quasi-independent for operational purposes. And many, many times, WPCA's, for example, your sewage plant, right? Who owns it? I'll bet you, I haven't, I don't represent the WPCA, and I haven't been asked this question. But in most towns, it's not owned by the WPCA. It's never owned by the
we own
WPCA.
it.
It's owned by the municipality.
Right.
So there are some towns that charge their WPCA ratepayers a rental fee, for example, for the plant because it's on their property and it's their plant, and yet the WPCA is using it. And the bonds the clean water bonds that were issued, who's on the clean water bonds with the state? It's the town.
Right.
So all of this goes to all of those issues, and how did this get in the charter? People were feeling around about it. Maybe they didn't quite understand what they were doing. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. They created a board that doesn't exist, that doesn't have duties, and people think it had duties, but it doesn't. But these are all normal issues in a municipality dealing with the WPCA, believe it or not, and they all get sorted out over time. And sometimes they get contentious. I mean, Stratford, my hometown, just went through a very contentious thing involving the WPCA, and it sort of settled back down to normal operations. But in many towns, there is a fee paid for administrative services provided by the municipality on the town side to the WPCA, such as the lien fees you were talking about, Anne Marie, I was listening to. And I'm listening to this, and it's almost like I've been through this in other towns, and it's always slightly different, but the same themes come up between the WPCA and the municipality. So it's not unusual, and
Nope.
we'll figure it out. So that's all I have to say.
The WPCA and the Board of Selectmen have a sit-down meeting and iron everything out so that everybody's happy.
Well, I would counter that the WPCA simply follow the charter and there'll be no issues.
Get your butt down to a Monday meeting.
When you start having them here,
No, suck it up like I have to.
No. not in the smelly meeting. Oof. You ever been in the WPCA plant? I nominate Stefan to represent the Board of Selectmen at the next WPCA meeting.
Oh, wait.
It's-
Wait, you
it's a
put stuff
treat.
on the board and I get to come on?
No, that's, I just wanted to visit. Okay, so we'll take a motion in a minute on the budget. But we're all in agreeance, Rich will send a letter just to Attorney Seuss to clarify that. And then I will speak with the chairman of the WPCA and have a conversation on this, so. Okay, with that then, I will entertain a motion that the Board of Selectmen accept the Town of Seymour Water Pollution Control Authority fiscal year budget from July 1st, 2017 to June 30th, 2018, at a rate of $4.60. Motion by Nicole, second by Al. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 5-0-1, and please note Anne Marie's abstention. Item number 11. Discussion and possible action regarding Xerox agreement. In your packets, you have a letter to myself from Rick Belden, Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations. It says, "Dear Kurt, this letter is to notify the town of Seymour that the Board of Education has recently gone out to competitive bid for all multi-function copiers. There were 6 companies that completed, and Connecticut Business Systems, a Xerox company, was awarded the contract for the next 5 years. The award was based on pricing, product evaluations, and local references. CBS Xerox will provide to the town of Seymour the same pricing terms and conditions utilized in their successful proposal for any devices that you may need. If you have any questions, please contact me. Sincerely, Rick Belden." The reason I bring this up is the town is in need for new copiers in Town Hall. Our goal is to switch all of our copies as they come off of their appropriate leases to CBS Xerox, so that way all copiers in the town of Seymour, regardless of municipal or Board of Education, will be on the same contract and will get substantially better rates. On the municipal side, we are going to save a great deal of money piggybacking off the Board of Education. So tonight, I'm going to ask for the board's approval that for the copiers in Town Hall and on the municipal side, that we use the Board of Education's comprehensive bid request that went out and award the business to Connecticut Business Systems. Motion by Nicole, second by Anne Marie. Under discussion, anybody have any questions, comments on that? I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, but I just wanted to make sure we did it the appropriate way. Okay, so hearing none, all in favor? Opposed, abstained, chair votes aye, motion passes 6-0. Item number 12, discussion and take possible action regarding Charter Revision Commission. Okay. Our goal is to start the Charter Revision Commission effective in the first week of August. The goal is to have the charter changes on the ballot for November of 2018. To do that, we need to essentially have all the work completed by August of 2018 or so to get it to the ballot. So the goal is to get this group up and running. I asked Rich to do a little research for us on the makeup of a charter revision committee. And in the past, we haven't necessarily followed that too well. The committee can be no fewer than 5 and no more than 15, and not more than 1/3 of whom can hold public office in the municipality. So we can only have a maximum of 3 elected officials on the board, assuming we have a 9-person board. So we have some people who have already said that they would serve. We have 4 people actually that have said yes so far, or 5 people, excuse me. And then 4 other people we're waiting to hear back from. We need a mix of obviously Republicans and Democrats. We're trying to have a 5-4 type mix, so it's very close. Working with Stefan on the Democratic side to get some people that we would like to get. We have 2 Democrats so far, and we have 3 Republicans. So we're kind of moving along well with that. And then we're hoping to fill those other 4 spots so that way we can have resolutions written that Rich will take care of and that we will vote on for July 18th at our next meeting. And at that point, I will meet with the committee. Rory and I will set up the first meeting early August. I'll meet with the committee, give them their charge, and then turn them loose with the availability of an attorney from Rich's office that will be there to provide guidance and get us through that. So that's kind of the update on that. I just wanted to bring that out, see if anybody had any questions, comments, thoughts as we move forward.
Is it committee or commission?
It's a committee. Did it? As a commission? Okay, it's a commission.
You said commission.
I said commission
but
twice and then
paper said
committee.
Committee.
And then you flip back to
Yeah.
How could you?
Vests,
So here's what I'll do for the 18th meeting.
Confusing everybody today.
I will do a resolution authorizing the creation of a charter revision commission pursuant to Section 7188 of the Connecticut General Statute, so you get your two-thirds vote.
Yep.
You have 30 days after that to appoint. So that would take you past your early August date. Would you like to do it, create it, and we have your appointments by then, and we'll do 9, and we'll do it in accordance with 7188
That's the hope, yes.
membership? Okay.
Yep.
And we'll do that. We'll get that done.
That's the hope. Okay. Any other? So Karen, to the point you made earlier, if there's any specific sections of the charter that you have issue with, if you want to highlight them and either email them to myself or Rory or drop them off,
Okay.
we'll make sure, because our goal is to have one initial packet to give to the Charter Revision Commission. At their first meeting, kind of outlining the things that we absolutely think are essential they'd look at right away. And then give them the opportunity, if there's other issues they want to address and bring forward to the people for potential change, we could do that. And then over time, Rich will figure out how we're going to break these up to put on the ballot in 2018.
May I inquire, you said the commission can only include a certain number of elected officials. Do you have that certain number of elected officials?
Yes.
It's actually more than elected officials. It's one-third of whom may hold any other public office in the municipality. So it's not necessarily just elected officials.
Could be appointed also?
Public office.
That include appointments?
Have to. Yeah.
Oh, God, we're screwed.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
So I'll go back and take a look at that, but I recall us taking a look at that issue for another municipality, and I haven't looked at it in a number of years, but it does say any other public office, definition of public office. So let me go back and take a look at that, and I'll send you both of these.
Okay. Please, because trying to
I know,
As
piece
soon as
these
possible.
together.
yeah, it is very difficult putting together a charter revision commission because of these requirements, the requirements.
Right.
Very good.
And that's we're trying to find people that are involved but not involved, so they can have a independent thought on it, which is hard to do. I mean, Stefan and I are struggling trying to get people, so. Okay. All right, so if anybody has any recommendations or names of people that aren't in any other boards or commissions, or someone that maybe would like to get off a board or commission, and we may have to do that for some of these people, so.
Yeah.
You only have, what, 4 to get off?
Yeah.
3 to get off, something like
Yeah, I think you two probably would have the hardest. Bruno, interest?
Already done that under Mr. Roy's.
So the WPCA issue is Al's fault.
We didn't recommend that.
Moving on to item number 14, appointments.
Let's make that clear right now.
We have
There were a lot of things that were spotted in that.
we have no
He gave us
appointments.
Specific
Yeah.
charges, not the entire.
Yeah, no, well, that'll be the different part this year, yeah.
We worked on pieces.
All right, item number 15, tax refunds and abatements. We have one, excuse me, I'll read this into the record. Following overpayment of tax payments in total of $264.85 needs to be approved for refund in accordance with the provisions of Section 12-129 of the Connecticut General Statutes, dated at Seymour, the 29th day of June, 2017. Susan Boland. So at this point, I'll entertain a motion to accept the tax collector's report as presented.
I'll move.
Motion by Karen, second by Al, under discussion. Just make sure there's no conflicts. Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, chair votes aye, motion passes 6-0. Item number 16, transfers. We actually have a transfer before us tonight. Item 16, or excuse me, control number 10, recreation. The request is by Mary McNellis, who is the Director of Community Services, Total amount of the transfer is $12,583.32 coming out of contingency for recreation salary, and being moved over to salary, regular employees, $9,566. Salary, associate director, $2,123.10, and social security, $894.22. So at this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve the transfer as requested. Motion by Stefan, second by Anne Marie. Again, under discussion, we had money put aside in contingency because we expected this transfer may take place, but we weren't sure as the exact amount. So all the attached data is there. Okay, no questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed, abstained, chair votes aye, motion passes 6-0. Item number 17, correspondence. We have a few pieces. We have the check register. We have a letter from Thomas Lavaranchek stepping down from the Friends of the Broad Street Park Committee because of work schedule. He's no longer able to do that. And then we have a letter to the town of Seymour from the Disability Rights Action Group of Connecticut. And it has to do with the picnic table that was placed, that was built by Seymour High School students, that was placed over on the grassy area at Town Hall, that it was not ADA accessible. So this group had raised that concern. So we removed the picnic table and brought it up to French Memorial Park, where it is now ADA accessible. And then the last piece is a letter, or excuse me, a memo to the board from the tax collector regarding 293 Roosevelt Drive tax abatements. And you could see the information there. The town has taken possession of that property, and the tax collector is asking us to abate the taxes due on that property of $602.28 for the 2016 grand list. This will actually be an agenda item at our July 18th meeting, but as it was sent to us this way, I at least wanted to put it in front of all of you so you were aware of it. We'll take official action at our next meeting. Okay, so that takes care of 17. Next is item 18, public comment. Is there any public comment? Looking right at our one public, is there any public comment? Hearing none. Selectmen's public comment. Stefan.
I'm all set, thanks.
Karen.
I have a question rather than a comment.
Sure.
I was driving down Holbrook Road the other day,
Mhm.
and I noticed, and truly, this is my question. There are a lot of dead and broken branches hanging over Holbrook Road. Now, if one of them fell and hit a car, is that the state's responsibility or ours, or joint?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. It's a town road, right? If it's a town road, it's going to be our responsibility. So, I mean, we can have Public Works.
I would send Public Works out there to take a look at it.
Yeah, Roy, can you make a note and have Tony hit it tomorrow? Yeah, we'll send the truck up.
One particularly large branch, and it's scary.
Whereabouts?
Uh,
As best you can.
It's
Between the Rotary and Cemetery Road?
above the Haynes property. Oh, yeah. Oh, after Cemetery Road.
Going towards the Rotary?
No.
Going the
down
other way?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, at least that narrows it down. Okay. Yeah, no, it definitely is. You go through that one section. Okay. Anything else, Karen?
No,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Al?
Just a good conversation on the WPCA and charter pieces tonight and the agenda, and I look forward to hearing back about some of the questions brought last time. I'll let you and Laura will follow up, and we'll move things along as fast as we can. That's really it.
Thank you, Al. Anne Marie?
Just as Alex was giving his speech, I was shaking my head, but it wasn't all in negativity. I was shaking my head in how fast this group has taken the project, has advanced it and moved it along, and I am very impressed that they are actually doing the work and getting other people involved. And that was what my head shaking was going about, was for the longest time, I've been kind of rattling the cage about it, and nothing was getting done. And now you have a very proactive committee, and that's what we need to be, is proactive instead of reactive. So I'm very happy about that.
Well, yeah, Alex is the new chairman, has done a lot in pushing it, but, a lot of credit too goes to Deb Zotti, a Seymour resident, who works for PMA, one of their safety people. So she's taken a very active role as well.
I'm very happy.
So, and she gets some credit as well.
That whole committee gets the credit, not just
Oh, yeah.
Alex. That whole committee. Being
It's a
so
good group.
proactive.
Yep.
Very happy about that.
And it's nice that you volunteered to assist them. Nicole?
Very nice, yes. Thank you, Anne Marie. Thank you, Kurt. A couple things. I'd like to apologize for missing the last two Board of Selectmen meetings. The one in June, it was the last day of session, so I was up there until midnight. What fun. And then the second meeting, I was on vacation with my family. So I do apologize for missing them. I didn't get to say that the Memorial Day Parade was wonderful. It was great that Alex took it over this year and has new ideas and a vision for our parade in our town, so I think that's nice to see. And also to echo Anne Marie, great job with the safety committee. It seems like they're moving forward and taking care of our residents, which is our main goal. So, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Paterla? Rory, anything we missed? With that being said,
Second.
motion to adjourn by Anne Marie, second by Karen. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye. Motion passes 6-0. Mark the meeting closed at 8:21 PM.